So also he's here because his owner has a boyfriend who has a female dog and they want to move in together. So that's why they're trying to get him to socialize so that he can have a stepsister.
Stepsister?
Good. Come.
Look at you guys all just working together. Working together.
Good. Okay. Bed. Good. No. Bed. Good. No. Bed. Good.
The other thing too that I just like don't like is, you know, like the training works, right? Like if you look at like a philosophy of training that's built around like we don't use positive reinforcement in treats and this and that. We just make sure the dog respects and understands that they have to do the commands
That's what
and this and that. Yeah. So he's solely e-collar, right? He'll praise the dogs like physically and stuff, right? But even that is much more with the purpose of like asserting dominance over the dog kind of mentality, you know?
Come.
But here's the thing, like the dog knows what come is, but because there's no, I'll let him finish this first, with the dog, right? And getting the dog at least kind of not hating the process of doing training, what happens is you get this just really sporadic, frantic dog that like in his mind right now, it's not like, oh, I understand what come is, I understand you're asking me to do come, and I have enough respect for you and have a relationship with you where I know I have to do it and kind of want to do it. In his mind,
No. Bed.
in his mind, it's simply come means if I don't glue myself next to a person in 2 seconds, I'm going to get fried, you know? Yeah. So what we're seeing is this is why he's been great with this when it's just you, because he's like, I just need to glue myself to a person. So he's like, bam, on it, you know? But now that this is the first time there's 3 people in the room, even though I've never done anything with this dog, Paige has never done anything with this dog, he's just like, just go to the nearest person, just go to the nearest person, you know? And you start seeing everything just kind of fall apart, you know? Continue proofing and doing things like this. So I'm trying to incrementally add in different things to your toolbox, right? So like the come command off the bed is something you could start utilizing periodically with dogs. The come command in socials is something you could periodically use with your dogs. You know, different things to continue pushing it to the next level.
Gotcha.
So, all right, we grab a couple dogs. So one thing I'll see a lot with dogs like this, and the reason why we don't correct for a lot of this stuff initially, is because these dogs will get themselves into this headspace, especially after a lot of like really firm training that may have been done, where they get put into this zone where they just don't feel like they can move, right? So dogs, if they feel like they have an option of fight or flight, right? And if the dog truly is reacting this way out of fear, which we could tell he is, right? If it weren't, he would be committedly trying to attack these dogs in these situations. If flight is not an option, he's going to be more likely to try to react, to try to create that distance. But as they start to react and we let them kind of cycle through some of these emotions on their own, what we see is they finally start to realize they can move, right? So he laid down, he snapped a couple times laying down, then he got up and he's like, wait a minute, this is different. I'm up now. And we saw that behavior get a little bit more intense initially because it kind of startled him. But over time, how this progression will work is now he realizes he could start to move around a little bit, which means that he'll be more comfortable to actually engage with some of these dogs. Or if he starts getting stressed, he'll start realizing he could actually create distance on his own. And now we see these conflicting emotions. Like, look, his tail's kind of like impulsively wagging, which doesn't mean happy. Let's not misconstrue it. But that kind of awkward low swish that he was doing there, and how it's going like up, down, teeth bared, not teeth bared, wagging again. These are all these new emotions he's starting to feel that he has no clue what to do with, you know? And typically, you know, we're not going to solve this right now, obviously, but what we're going to start to see is as he realizes that he could express himself more freely, the stress will come down, which will get him back to that stage where he feels like he could actually socialize and play as opposed to just defend himself because of the attack that he went through. You need to allow him to feel like he can communicate still, but we essentially are raising the bar of what's not acceptable, right? So like once he hits that point where it hits over the edge, right, of just like general communication, trying to keep the dogs out of his space, and it goes to like actually trying to bite them or more like seeking out the problem, you know, that's where we set that boundary for it. But the problem is, like we were talking about before, if we set that boundary too low and we just correct for some of the general communication, then he never feels like he can communicate and can never get past that hurdle ultimately, right?